Welcome back to the It's Really Not That Deep podcast.
It's never that deep.
So you know the propaganda I am falling for trend?
Of course I do.
Nervous system regulation is a propaganda I am falling for and have been falling for.
Sometimes I hear that and I'm like, I 100% agree and everyone needs to regulate and I talk about it, but it's kind of hard to understand what that actually means and what to do about it.
Yeah, so let's break it down today. But I guess we obviously learned more from researching this episode, but my initial reaction to what that means is just taking a deep breath and calming your body down. And in Asia, I would always think to myself it starts with the body. So when I was anxious, I'd be like, okay, you're tense, calm down, take some deep breaths, then see how you feel. Eat if you need to eat, sleep if you need to sleep. And that changed everything.
Yeah, and it seems like such a silly concept, just breathe, and people are always like, just take a deep breath. But I took a course on, it had nothing to do with this, so I don't know why we learned so much about it. But I took a course and we learned a lot about mindfulness and getting into a state of Zen. It was a psych course, and we learned how it actually changes in your brain and how mindfulness and breathing exercises and especially yoga and meditation actually rewire your brain. It's really interesting.
So interesting. So that's why we wanted to break it down, because even us who studied 4 years of psychology didn't really know what it meant. So how would anyone else? Unless you have a really good therapist.
Preach.
So there are kind of set ways that our nervous system reacts to stress. That can be real stress, imagined stress, and that's the fight-flight response, which I feel again, everyone's heard of, but we don't really deep dive into it. There are actually 4 types. It's not just fight and flight. It's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fawn is new to me.
I've never heard of fawn.
Well,
who is
you're
she?
You're going to identify with fawn.
Oh, will I? I can't wait.
So fight is you get aggressive or angry when threatened. So you snap at someone. We've all been there. Flight, you run away or avoid the threat. Ghosting. Again, all been there. Freeze, you shut down, feel numb or paralyzed. And fawn, you people please or try to appease to feel safe. So saying yes to plans even if you're exhausted.
I think a big misconception about this is that people think that these are bad, and sometimes you do need to be in these states, and there are appropriate times that these states are what your body needs. For example, for me when I'm studying, or when I'm taking a test or a presentation, sometimes you do need that kind of nervous energy, and you need your brain to kind of be on that flight or fight response, or else you can't really, what's the point of, I don't know how to explain that.
Well, what I think you're getting at is it's tied into our evolution. We are this way for a reason, and because when it was
we're hunter and gatherers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You had to fight or you had to flee to survive. So it's a survival mechanism that now we don't actually need it to survive. We just still have it.
Yeah, humans are wired for survival because that's what we had to do evolving. And now that we don't have that in us, well, we almost kind of do in our everyday lives. We do have things that we kind of try to survive from, but there are most of the time scenarios where your brain creates these when you are in a safe environment with safe people.
100%. I also had this misconception that you're fight or flight, but obviously it varies from situation to situation. If I need to fight, I'll fight, but usually I'll just get out of there. But that's not even relevant.
No, it is. I'm trying to think, because I feel in a really serious sense, I know we're not really talking about a serious sense, but when there are serious situations where you're I think you never actually know what you do until you're in that situation.
Yeah.
So being in that situation barely, I was we gotta go. I just needed to run.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see everyone's reactions.
Instincts.
Yeah, instincts, literally.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fight or flight for you.
I think it's important, just as we kind of start the episode, to actually put definitions to these things. So you understand your body's baseline. So you can stop yourself in the moment of thinking, I'm literally crazy. Like, why am I not more calm? And understand this is a normal bodily reaction.
Yeah. When I like learned these things and learned about like how fucked up we all are, I sometimes get like, oh, well, like, what do I do about this? And I think we'll get into that, of course, later in the episode, but I think the bottom line is just like rewiring and like interrupting these thought patterns and interrupting these bodily patterns and literally rewiring everything, relearning how to function.
I think what's really helpful for me in therapy, because like I am a really self-aware person and I can understand things, but especially like with my ADHD diagnosis, not that a diagnosis can change anything. Sure, I could get meds, but that wasn't even it. It's just like the fact that it validates your feelings and it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like, this is real. And what I'm feeling is not some weird thing that I shouldn't be feeling. So I do think that validating that feeling or that emotion or putting a definition to it does actually help rewire.
So right. As I've been like learning to regulate my nervous system and just like live a more aligned life, I really realized that I have a window of tolerance, which we all do. But like, I used to be kind of ashamed of that, and now I'm just like, okay, embrace it. And I only put the term to the definition recently. So like what a window of tolerance is like what you can handle. So when it's too high, you're kind of in like hyperarousal and you're anxious and your body's tense and you're overwhelmed. And then when it's too low, that's also not good because then you're like numb and disconnected. So it's really important to be in that happy medium and know what works for you.
Yeah, and I think like some common buzzwords around that is like being overstimulated. For me, I also get understimulated, which I guess is the opposite. But it's real. Like, you do feel like, oh my God, like I just need to get out of my skin almost.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to it's the physical.
Yeah. And like this really is your comfort zone. And it's so hard to leave your comfort zone in any area of life, especially when it's like in your body.
Yeah. But is it about leaving your comfort zone or like... Okay, I guess I said before that sometimes it is good to leave your comfort zone, but when it's not so good and you are feeling that heightened anxiety and whatever, when there's no reason for it, is it about being okay with it or is it about coming back to it?
I think if you can come back to it, like I think if I'm in a situation where I'm very anxious and there's something I can do to remove myself or calm myself down, of course you should do that.
Well, I think that's the point of this.
Yeah. But there are times when, like, you are pushed beyond your limits and you just kind of have to, like, suck it up. So bottom line, like, learning to realize and identify things out of your comfort window is really important.
By acknowledging it, I think that you see it in other aspects of your life. Like, for example, when you're in a friend group and you're like, I literally can't chill with these people. Like, I don't like them. And you're like, what am I doing here? And you're past your limit. Your window of tolerance is out the frickin' door.
You don't even have one anymore.
Yeah. And I think a part of growing up too, not that this is really anything to do with it, but it's being able to acknowledge that it's out of your tolerance and instead of trying to work within it, just get out of it.
Yeah. I've been saying a lot, like, that's just me.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't be here, I can't be here. I'm not going to force it anymore. What's the point?
I always say, like, everyone has some red flags. This is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So figure out your window of tolerance and find people and situations that fit into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did Othership today. And for those of you that don't know what Othership is, it's like you're in a sauna and then you do a cold plunge. And so obviously a cold plunge is like not so appealing and like it's hard. And I did it right before this, so I had this episode top of mind. And in the cold plunge, of course, I'm not trying to think about how cold the water is. So I was trying to think about how to not think about how cold the water is.
Oh, that's never good.
But it reminded me of the idea of, like, connecting my mind and body. So the instructor said to me, like, untense your shoulders. Like, you're so tense. Like, resisting it makes it worse. And I was like, you're so right. And as soon as I could just, like, let go and just breathe into it, I was so much calmer. And it just reminded me of this idea of, like, when you can notice what's going on inside, you can deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledgement is the first step.
Yeah. I know I keep going back to yoga in all these episodes, but at the beginning of yoga, at least where I went, they start with, like, a full body scan. So they're, like, go from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And they literally so your arms, and it's like a little bit repetitive, but they're just like just notice if your shoulders are tense, if you have a weird feeling in an arm or whatever. Like, just notice your body. It doesn't need to be you're not looking to fix it, you're just looking to get in touch with your body.
Yeah, and that's so special. We like, the mind-body connection is not strong enough in most of us, which is really sad, because like all you have is your mind and your body.
Yeah, and that's literally holistic psychology, and I read a book about it, and there are so many studies that are like, if people that, I learned about it in the class too, like people that don't have that emotional side, sometimes like their physical side reacts, like they could more likely to get cancer, more likely to die early, more likely for all these things to happen, and that's because your mind and body aren't connected.
Yeah, like it's in your psyche, so it's coming out one way,
Yeah,
emotionally or physically.
Yeah,
get that in check. But I was thinking about this like a phone battery. Like, it's like you have to check in with yourself. Like, you have to understand what your battery is at, and if it's low, go lie down. Go do something that like fills you up.
Yeah. So now that we've kind of discussed what is regulating your nervous system, a little bit to explain the processes of doing so, there's two different things. So you could either do top-down processing or bottom-up processing. And one is basically starting with your thoughts and moving down to your physical, and the other one is starting with your physical and moving up to your thoughts. So to start with the bottom-up, to start with the body, a lot of the times, as Joe says, like, it starts with the physical. You have to recognize different things in your body that aren't doing well, and to recognize that there are different things that you could do, such as breath work or meditation or mindfulness, journaling. All these different things can help connect your body to be able to understand your psyche. And then the opposite effect, where we preach therapy, is top down. Go to therapy, understand your mind, do some CBT, and your body will kind of relax once your mind has settled into your tolerance, your window of tolerance.
Yeah. And the combination is so important, because like sometimes I'm in a place where I'm really overwhelmed and like I'm just not okay, and like I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do like starting with the thoughts. So you just got to start with the body. You got to get into bed. You got to like check in with yourself. But they're both so important.
So important. And like, even if you're not such like a mind calm person, even like they say, like working out, your endorphins are pumping. The minute I finish a workout, like I'm automatically feeling better. Go outside, get a breath of fresh air. Like, it doesn't have to be these big things or like these intentional things, or actually it should be intentional, but they could be small intentional things.
100%. I feel like small intentional things are even better sometimes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't like force yourself to do those big things, but you really can't think your way out of stress. And this was something I used to struggle with, because I would get so in my head and think that the answers were in my head and I could solve all my problems by ruminating. I was incorrect. So now when I get into those like spirals, my rational brain says, get up. Like, get up, just move your body, put on a happy song, like just do something to interrupt the pattern, and that's been so helpful.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's really hard to do it, especially when you are in a spiral. And like, we all fall to a spiral and keep spiraling and listen to sad music just to spiral more. But when you are able to recognize these things and literally just stop and do do you know what box breathing is?
Yeah.
Box breathing is great for these types of things.
It is really great. What is it? In for 4, hold for 3, out for
Well,
7?
I do in for 7, hold for 7, out for 7, hold for 7. It's
Okay.
box.
I like it. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah. But if you can't do 7, you could start with 3 or you could start with 5, and then you just do it a few times, and eventually it really calms your brain.
Yeah.
You also do that in yoga.
So true. Yeah, go to a yoga class.
It's great. And it's great for the body, mind and body. Double whammy.
But some examples of these, so like bottom up, so starting with the body, would be like breathing, cold plunges, hello, shaking out your arms. I've been doing this one a lot, just like literally shaking. And then mine first is like reframing a thought, journaling, talking to someone about it.
Period.
That's that. Another thing with these practices is, like, you don't just do it once and then you're cured. Like, you really do have to implement these into your everyday life, which can sound so overwhelming, but, like, it's just a more peaceful existence.
Yeah, and once you do it over and over, it becomes a habit, and then you do it without even realizing.
Yeah, so next time you're in a spiral, catch yourself and watch this episode.
And re-regulate your nervous system.
Yeah. Duh.
So going back to meditation, I'm just looking at some lecture notes from this course that I took because it was so interesting. And it basically said that meditation is another means of altering consciousness. So it's to change your perspective and your focus. And with that, what it actually is you're practicing attention. So a lot of us, especially in our generation, we have no attention span. And like, that's an important thing. Why are we just scroll through TikTok, can't listen to one full minute video? So we gotta meditate. But there's two types of meditation. So there's mindfulness meditation, and that's kind of what we've been talking about. So focusing on our internal thoughts. So this is, I guess, more top down, except it kind of is a mix, I guess. So it's focusing on your thoughts and just noticing.
Observing.
Yeah, observing if there's anything that you've been feeling. And sometimes when you do notice these thoughts, you feel so much pressure to change them. But that's not really the case. It's really about being in the present of your mind and like just sitting with it. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves to sit with that feeling. So that's kind of the first one. And then the second thing is called open monitoring. And I guess this is almost for when you're too overwhelmed to actually notice those emotions. And what you're supposed to do is notice everything else around you. So literally, that's like, I don't know if everyone's heard about grounding. So it's like, name 5 things you could see or 5 things you can feel. And you kind of go through the senses in that sense. But both of these types lead to presence, to you being present in the moment.
Yeah. I was thinking just about, like, why the grounding works, because I've heard about that many times, but then I was thinking, like, if you're in an unsafe situation, you're not going to be seeing 5 things you see, like, you're going to be getting out of there. So if you're able to, like, bring your mind into the present, bring your body into the present, you can feel more calm.
Yeah, it's really to take a distance from yourself and then identify that these thoughts are literally just thoughts.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need, like, to get there. And I feel like we all kind of get there at some point. It could be in a week and you're like, that was so silly of me. Like,
yeah.
Whatever. But this will allow you to do that a lot quicker.
It just allows you, be more present and reflect on what's going on in your life instead of just going on autopilot and then having it come out in ways you don't want it to.
Another thing that I think is super interesting about meditation is it's how do you say that word?
Analogous?
Yeah, is that how do you say it? Analogous to exercise. So the same benefits that you get from exercise, you get from meditation.
What are the benefits?
So how my professor mentioned it is that attention is an endangered species, especially in our generation. So meditation instantly helps because, one, we multitask too much, so we need focused attention to get work done well. When you're super focused on one thing, you end up multitasking, but we learned that multitasking doesn't actually work.
I beg to differ.
Whatever. Meditation helps you bring yourself back to that focused attention. It makes your amygdala.
Girl.
With the meditation, it helps you strengthen the attention muscle.
Yeah.
Which we lack.
No, meditation is a game changer.
Yeah. So going back to the parasympathetic, is that right? And the sympathetic.
If you said it with para, you can say it again.
So back to my professor, because I have a crush on him. So there's this thing called flow, and we use it to suppress the negative task network.
Okay.
And that's kind of like the default mode network. And what flow is it's literally just complete concentration on a task. So when I was learning about this, at school, we had a table that I painted. And when I painted that table, like, my attention was 1,000,000% in that table. Like, hours could go by, and, like, I didn't notice, like, anything else around me. That's, like, what flow is.
That's how I feel when I'm watching Vanderpump.
Sure. If that's your state of flow, I don't know if that's a really good one, but
Whatever works, right?
yeah. Okay, so now reading more, I fear that that's not a good one, because part of flow is that there's a balance between challenge and skills. So again, going back to my painting example, I am a pretty good artist. So like I know I could do these things, but it does provide a challenge.
I feel like it has to be a creative outlet in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe not creative like painting, but like you're writing or you're doing something.
But I think even like working out or doing a sport or doing something.
You're just not watching TV.
Yeah, I fear. Let's be real. Oh my god, I even wrote working on a challenging painting here.
Perfect. But yeah, it is nice when your mind is just completely off of everything else other than the thing in front of you. It's
Yeah.
presence.
And like that's another thing, it's not even bottom up because you don't even need that. It's kind of a form of mindfulness.
Yeah, I love it. Flow.
Flow.
That's how I felt at Othership too.
Yeah, that could be a good one because it is a challenge.
Yeah.
Going in the cold plunges is a challenge.
So I was really excited to do this episode because this is something that actually has changed my life, and I've only really learned about it in the past like year or two. So as a part of like our passion, I really wanted more people to know about this.
Yeah, and actually one of our friends asked me to do this.
Really?
Yeah.
I was talking with one of my friends today, and I was like, yeah, that's the theme of tonight's episode. She's like, no way!
Yeah, because it is like a buzzword, and people don't actually know what any of this means.
Yeah. So we hope that we broke it down in a way that suits you. And if you guys have any other questions, let us know, because we're researchers.
Yeah, and I hope you learned a little bit about your mind and body and how it's all connected.
We'll see you guys next time.
Love you.